The crime which is attributed to them and which is punished is just declaration of kalima, la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, and belief in the Holy Quran and writing of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And I have brought a fresh case as evidence to show the Arab world what is happening. They don't know what is happening, unfortunately. So what about this case? You know, there was an Ahmadi young man by the name of Nasir Ahmad in Nankana Sahib. Nankana Sahib is the same town, small township, where in the open day, broad daylight, there was an organized mob who attacked every Ahmadi house and razed it to the ground. Threw all the books, including the Holy Quran, in the rubbish outside, and said, "This is the Quran published by you, so it doesn't mean anything to us." And we have pictures and also movie taken, which can be shown as small specimen of what they do and how they treat Islam in their own country. So, some were killed, some were beaten up and thoroughly mauled. Was any martyrdom there? No. Nobody was martyred ultimately, but there were some were left as dead. But some were attempted to be burnt alive, and they had gathered around that we will not surround the house, we will not let you run away. And with the grace of Allah, somehow they were ultimately escaped. But that is a very horrible picture of what happened in that broad daylight, in presence of the police force, magistracy. Nothing was done. After that, they still survived, and many returned to the same place and said that whatever you do, we are not going to leave our beliefs for the sake of your oppression, under the threat of your oppression, nor shall we run away from it. Let what happen. So he is one of those brave young men who returned to Nankana Sahib and still remains there. In 1992, he celebrated the marriage of his first daughter. He's not a very young man, he's a middle-aged person. And in that he committed a very grave crime against humanity and Islam by beginning the invitation card with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala Rasulih al-Kareem, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Please, if you could kindly find time to come to attend the marriage of my daughter, you are invited most cordially. These were the words, and inshallah this will happen on that day. These are the charges officially pressed against him. This man, and the number of the court case is 122, 1992. And he appeared many a time. He was in fact bailed out at last after long suffering in the jail by the Ahmadi lawyers. And recently, yesterday or 2 days ago, the final judgment was issued and he was re-imprisoned. The bail cancelled and he was imprisoned. Now the crime list is read out, because I have asked them to send official copy, which will be shown here on television, of the judgment. The name of the session judge, is it session judge? Yes. Zaki Pal. He is additional session judge. Imagine the quality of these people, at that level. Additional session judge is a very important post, because they can decide the issues of life and death, condemnation of death. And that is why this case was handled by him, because it included also 295A, which is very close to 295C, which means only death is the penalty of this crime and nothing else. So 295A deals with some sort of insult. to Islam and misconduct, and 298C also relates to such offences as hurt the sensibilities of Muslims by abuse or by some other acts of violence or invectives, bad language, etc. So I don't know the details of the law, but this is generally the effect of these acts. So ultimately, now this is exactly the copy. You can see that. Have you focused it? Can you see it? We can't see it on television. Yes. Okay. Yes, you can. Huh? Can anyone read it? This is the crime committed by an Ahmadi in Pakistan today.
This is an official paper, photocopy, invitation.
Photocopy of his invitation to his people to attend the marriage ceremony of his daughter.
Yes.
And the police moved against him case of violation of public law and safety, etc., etc., and insult to Islam and invectives against this and that. But exact wording which were produced in the police report which was submitted to the court, and then the regular charges were pressed against him officially, were these charges which you have read, that you have been reported guilty of writing Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim and Nahmaduhu wa Nusalli ala Rasulihil Kareem, and then you have been found guilty of addressing people by Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and in the end you crossed all limits by saying Inshallah Ta'ala, if Allah so willed. Imagine. And now the judgment. Immediately arrested, to be immediately arrested again and sent to jail for 4 years, rigorous imprisonment in relation to the first charge of 295A. I'm sorry, there is a misunderstanding. I told him to provide me with original copy of Nasir's invitation card, and I remember it was a card, but this time it was something else. So I thought it was a copy from the card. But it has another thing, I'm sorry to say, but these exactly are the charges which I have read. There is no change at all in that. This is correct. The charges pressed were that you have been found guilty of writing Bismillah, you have found guilty of saying Durood ala Muhammad Rasulullah sallam, etc., and you have been found guilty of saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and also of saying Inshallah Ta'ala. And under all these counts which are proved to be correct, because he said, yes, it is true, I believe it and I have to do it, to act according to my beliefs. So he said that you are 4 years rigorous in 4 years, that is with labor, hard labor. Under the first count and under the second, rigorous imprisonment. Altogether, they will not start simultaneously. 4 plus 2 added. And plus 1,000 rupees fine, if not paid, 2 more months of rigorous imprisonment as a result of non-payment of this fine. This is the report, and they have not yet collected the copy, but the moment the copy is available, the court has to issue the official copy. We will bring it here and show it to the audience, and this is also covered by Pakistani papers. So nobody can say there are one-sided allegations of this and that. Utter madness, you can say that, or total disregard to human values and decency and love of Islam, but they are doing it in the name of Islam. Imagine. But if somebody else, another non-Muslim, does the same thing, then they are not hurt at all. Now this card, which I showed you by mistake to be the copy of the card issued by Nasir Ahmad, is in fact an invitation card, again, an invitation card to invite people to attend the marriage of his daughter, this man's daughter. His name is Mastan Singh. The people who are to be responded to are these, in answer to this. Sardar Mastan Singh is Sikh. Sardar Kaka Singh, another Sikh. Sardar Nam Singh, another Sikh. And what is this? Hadhrat Singh? Himmat Singh. Something else. Himmat Singh. Himmat Singh. There are 4 Sikhs who are signatory to this, that anybody who is invited to respond to their call at these addresses. And the person who is getting to be married to some Sikh lady is Sardar Pritam Singh Premi. Everybody knows Sikhs are not Muslims, at least not now. When Ahmadis declared that Hazrat Guru Baba Nanak Sahib had accepted Islam from among the Hindus, and it was a Sufi Muslim sect which he started, but with the passage of time, unfortunately, things got mixed up, and now the Sikhs think that Hazrat Baba Sahib was not a Muslim, he invented a new faith. Now when we say he was Muslims, they are sometimes very much annoyed. And in some places actually riots took place, that you are insulting us by calling us Muslims. So if any retaliation was justified, nothing is justified, I agree. But if at all any, it should have been against this. Just follow it, all right. They attended the marriage ceremony, these Muslims, and partook of all the delicious food. It was all jaiz and halal according to Islam. But this man is punished for 6 years rigorous imprisonment. This is the state of affairs, and the Arab world should know. Now if they know, when they know, if they don't respond, then they would become a sort of accessory with crime, accessory after crime. You see, they can't say, we don't like it, it's Pakistan government, it's Pakistan people who are to be blamed for that. This argument does not carry weight in the sight of Allah. Because if cruelty is perpetrated in the name of Islam, then it is the right of Muslims to protest against it. If the Arab governments truly believe genuinely in fundamental human rights and dignity of Islam, then they must protest very strongly and tell the Pakistan government that if you behave like this, then you have no facilities, you will be made no facilities available to you in our relationship or in our country. They don't care. Privately, they are all. This should be propagated fully. The whole Arab world should come to know. Understand?
Yes.
The second? Now I have many interesting things to share with you after the translation is finished.
Okay.
Even women were beaten up. Nobody was spared. He had to appear before in various courts repeatedly, all through this. He remained in prison for some time. When he was bailed out, then he had to appear repeatedly. The judgment is passed now. On 23rd of April. Not recently, not very recently. 1 week ago. I told 2 days or 1 day. It happened about a week ago. Again, it is a strange logic that Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is monopolized by Islam. While they don't read the Quran either, or they would have read, that when Hazrat Sulaiman wrote a letter to Queen of Sheba, he started with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. It is a universal thing. As-salam is a universal message mentioned in the Holy Quran. Everybody who meets say Assalamu Alaikum. And again, they don't even know hadith, they don't know the traditions. Those munafiqeen, which were known to be munafiqeen, Allah had told Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah himself the inside story of these people. It was not a mullah's guess. Mullahs are most often wrong in their guesses. They're not pious people, they're just, hypocrites. But I'm talking of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah. He was told about these munafiqeen. And even Jews were permitted to say Assalamu Alaikum to Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah and others. Imagine. What Islam have they invented? Where? If they say Ahmadis are toilets, what about those Jews who were conspiring all the time against Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah and trying to murder him? What about those munafiqeen, which according to the Holy Quran were asfalu safilin in reality? They would go to the lowest rank of hell. And they said Assalamu Alaikum. And nobody cared. Even in the guise of Assalamu Alaikum, some dared to speak to Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah by saying Assalamu Alaikum. And when Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu anha pointed at him, pointed out to him, Ya Rasulullah, didn't you realize what this man was saying? He was not murdered, he was not beaten up, he was just left alone. The only thing which Rasulullah said in response was something he says Aisha couldn't properly understand. So she thought he had said Wa alaikum salam. And in surprise and anguish, said, Ya Rasulullah, didn't you hear what he said? He didn't say Assalamu Alaikum, he said Assalamu Alaikum. Rasulullah said, Aisha, didn't you hear what I said? I said Alaikum. See? What a beautiful religion. What a wonderful Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Nothing can be thought above him, in conduct, in courtesy, in his treatment of the enemies, in his wisdom. He was supreme and he would remain supreme. Why don't these mullahs and the government of Pakistan read the Quran and read the traditions before they claim to be the Muslim? Now, I was saying that the ulama of Pakistan, the government of Pakistan officials related to religious affairs, etc., they all know what I have been telling you now with reference to the Quran and Hadith. This is exactly what they read in the Quran and the Hadith. So it's not a crime of ignorance, it's a willful crime. And they'll be held responsible for God, responsible to God. And what is happening in Pakistan, in fact, is already a sign of Allah's displeasure. Mass murders and abductions and rapes and robberies, and no peace left in Karachi, in Lahore, anywhere in Pakistan. The things have gone down the drain in every moral value, and yet they don't care. So it is happening because of this direct violation of the Quranic teaching and the Sunnah, and violation in the name of God and in the name of Islam and in the name of the Holy Prophet. This is the gravest crime that one can conceive, and they will be punished. There is no doubt. Unless they mend their ways, they will be further punished, here and in the hereafter. So this is what is happening to Ahmadis, and this is the reasoning they say why we do it, that you are not Muslims. And as not Muslims, when you say La ilaha illallah, you insult Islam. When you say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, no non-Muslim has a right to say that. When you say Assalamu Alaikum, it is only the monopoly of Muslims to say Assalamu Alaikum. Well, I proved from the conduct of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It's no monopoly. And when we say we are Muslims, they beat us and they drag it to the courts. Thousands of Ahmadis have been moved against legally for the committing the crime of saying Assalamu alaikum or writing La ilaha illallah on their, affixing the badge of La ilaha illallah here on the breast. Now while in the Holy Quran what do you read? The Holy Quran speaking of the hypocrites, telling Hadhrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that when they say Innaka Rasulullah, they're liars. We know that you are Allah's Rasul, but when they say they lie, what better proof of hypocrisy can be found in that? And yet the Holy Quran says, addressing Rasulullah regarding such people, that tell them to call themselves Muslims. Only they shouldn't claim to be believers. But as far as Islam goes, nobody can throw them out. It is God-deceived. If Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah is not authorized by Allah to declare any claimant to Islam as non-Muslim, remember this, never once in his life he declared anybody non-Muslim against his claim to Islam, against his profession of Islam. These mullahs, if they are higher than Muhammad, they are gods then. They are not playing the Holy Prophet only, they are playing God, acting God. And nobody cares. They know what is in our heart, all of them know. But they don't know what is in their own distorted intentions. Those who do not know what is inside themselves, how can they know what is inside others? Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who knew everything much more than any other human being, because he was directly told by Allah of what belonged to the world of absence or ghaib. You see, that ghaib was told to Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than to anybody else. But when somebody told him he was a Muslim, he said, yes, okay, you are a Muslim. He said, I'm not a Muslim. He said, yes, you are not Muslim. But the right of claim to Islam always belonged to the people individually. You see, in Jang-e-Badr, when they needed so much help from outside, one mushrik, a strong warrior, appeared before Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and people, Muslims in the sense, presented him with such pleasure and satisfaction. We have been strengthened. He is a mushrik, but he has his personal scores to settle with mushrikeen of Mecca, but he is a very strong and well-known warrior. He has decided to come to help us. You know what the answer was? Hazrat Muhammad said, I don't need the help of an idolater. Please, keep your help to yourself. And you know what he said then? He said, I claim to be a Muslim. It's all right, come and join us. No further questions. This is our Prophet, in whom we believe as Ahmadis. What is their Prophet, they know. We don't know. No such Prophet as theirs ever existed in real life. Never. Read the Quran and quote one Prophet who acted like they act. So this is the allegations against Ahmadis, and this is my short response. But I'll speak some more words after this translation, please. He also told them of the incident of Badr when an Arab warrior came.
Yes. يقول أمير المؤمنين أذكركم بهذا الشخص. أولا أن أولئك الأعراب الذين دخلوا في الإسلام قالوا نحن مسلمون. القرآن يقول النبي نعم قل لهم أنتم مسلمون، ليس هناك خطأ. قالوا أسلمنا، نعم أسلمتم، فقط قالوا لا إله إلا الله ولا يعرفون شيئا ولا يفعلون شيئا من الإسلام. لكن لا تقولوا آمنا، لأن الإيمان هذه مسألة يعلمها الله وهو الذي يحكم بها.
Another time, one Muslim warrior during a battle got hold of a very powerful enemy and ultimately defeated him. And finally murdered him. He said, La ilaha illallah. And he said, I know. Just to save your life, you're doing this? This is not the time. So he stabbed him to death. And reported this matter with pride to Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah. And he reports himself, he said, never in my life I saw Muhammad Rasulullah so angry as I saw when I reported this. His face flushed with sorrow and anger. And he repeatedly, continuously said to me, Allah shaqaqta qalbahu, Allah shaqaqta qalbahu, Allah shaqaqta qalbahu. And he said, it happened so much that I wished I had not become a Muslim before this incident. I have annoyed Muhammad Rasulullah so much. Then you know what he said? What would be your answer when on the day of judgment, his La ilaha illallah would stand witness against you? He was terrified. This is the Islam of Muhammad Rasulullah. This is our holy master. Who's theirs? They should tell.
I remember this Sahabi is Usama.
Usama? I have written his name in the book.
Yes, it is Usama ibn Zayd. Yes.
But he'll check it. I have got this name mentioned in this booklet. I'll come to that booklet. Yes. I have a feeling that it was not Usama bin Zayd.
Yes, sir.
Because he was a born Muslim.
Yes.
He couldn't have said,
yes,
I wished, you know.
Yes.
It was Amr bin As or somebody else.
Not Amr ibn al-As.
No, huh?
Not Amr ibn al-As. No.
Someone else. I don't remember the name clearly. But I have sent for the real name. If we'll get it in time, we'll tell you. Otherwise tomorrow, inshallah. And then they say, Ahmadis have been imprisoned and persecuted and beaten up for the crime of saying azan, calling for prayer. And you know, because you are not Muslims, you have no right. While during a ghazwa, at one stage, one mushrik boy learned how to say azan. And Muhammad Rasulullah heard him saying that with such wonder and love. Because the one who loves God, when he hears the praises of Allah and hears him declare there is no Lord but Allah, he is only pleased, regardless of what that man is. But their Islam they claim, is stronger than Muhammad Rasulullah. They love azan and its sanctity better than Muhammad Rasulullah. He hears the azan of a mushrik and listen, no, we will not permit you to do that. And there is in penal code, there is also punishment prescribed for an Ahmadi place of worship, a mosque of worship. Because they say the word masjid is again a monopoly of Islam. Nobody else can use the word masjid. And again they don't read the Quran. What sort of ulama they are? This century has produced. They don't read Surah Kahf. They don't read in Surah Kahf that after the people in the cave came up, things changed, the government has changed, and then people decided that in memory of these people, what memento would create. And they said, we'll build a masjid. The word masjid, how can it be monopolized by Islam? The Holy Quran says no. Even the Christians were permitted, and the Holy Quran approves this. You see, even the entire earth, the whole firmament of this earth has been made a masjid by Allah. And this is the news given by Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah. Would they deny that? Entitled by God as such. But they are the different people, you know. But I'll speak of the remaining things tomorrow, inshallah. And I have also some very interesting things to tell you. I told you of a booklet I wrote hurriedly before the ordinance of General Zia, because there was something I could smell in the air. Conspiracies were going on. Mullahs were repeatedly rushing to the Islamabad and meeting the president and others. So I knew something was about to happen. So I thought perhaps it would be good to issue a warning to the whole people of Pakistan about the nature of the conspiracy being hatched. So a small booklet, very simple, in simple language, was published by me under the title Ik Harf Nasihana, which is translated into Arabic, Kalimatul Nasiha. And you can show them tomorrow.
Yes.
What it is about, and how in response to this, orders were issued all over Pakistan that this dangerous booklet must be proscribed, and whoever distributes should be jailed. And Ahmadis suffered, and some still keep appearing in different courts in their defense of distributing this Kalimatul Nasiha. Right? Tomorrow, inshallah.